Before he was Genghis Khan, he was Temujin, a boy exiled to hunger and wind. He did not find an army, he built one, not from castles and coin, but from oaths, merit, and a new way to make riders move like a single hand. The steppe breaks what it cannot bend. Temujin's father, Yesugei, died suddenly. The clan cuts the widow loose. Holun and her children are left to starve. This is lesson 1. Kinship fails when winter comes. From a childhood of nothing, Temujin learns the only currency the wind can't steal. Loyalty you earn. He finds a friend in Mirror, Jamuka. They swear Anda, blood brotherhood, but the steppe gives brothers the same horizon. One day it asks who will ride in front. Jamuka keeps to noble custom. Temujin gathers the dispossessed, men with no good past who want a better future. The oath cracks. A war line appears. Temujin marries Berta. The Merkits sweep in and steal the bride, a feud born of old blood. Temujin does not surrender to fate. He does something new. He builds a coalition. With help from Togrul and Jamuka, he strikes the Merkits and wins Berta back. Lesson 2. Alliances are tools, not heirlooms. Allies become rivals. Jamuka meets Temujin in a pitched fight remembered as Dalan Baljut, the 13 sides. Temujin loses, but he brings more men out than he took in. He forbids the aristocrats' habit of abandoning the lowborn wounded. In defeat, he teaches a new discipline. We leave no one behind. Temujin starts breaking the old bones of steppe politics. Merit over lineage. Promotions for courage and craft, not surnames. Plunder rules. The first loot goes to the neediest. The last word goes to the leader who keeps score fairly. Hostage into family. Noble captives are folded into households, not to humiliate, but to bind. If you're poor or passed over, Temujin is a revolution. If you're noble and lazy, he is a reckoning. With the Carrot Lord Togrul, Temujin grows from raider to campaigner. But allies change when fortunes do. Whisperers say the son-in-law grows too strong. Betrayed and battered, Temujin fades into the hills and rebuilds. He divides followers into Arbans, tens, Zuns, hundreds, Mingans, thousands. 10 men become a fist, 10 fists become a tumen. This is the machine the steppe has never seen. When the thaw comes, so does payback. Temujin strikes the Kharit with speed and coordination. Banners crumple, camps fall, Togrul flees. The Kharit fold into Temujin's order, not into his fire. The victors do not loot and leave. They reorganize their enemies. This is conquest as administration. One great steppe power remains, the Naiman. Proud, numerous, well-led. Temujin does what he always does. He prepares. Scouts draw the ground. Herdmasters map the grass. Reserve horses litter the route. Then the hammer falls. Where the Naiman expect a charge, they meet precision. Their line breaks. Their nobles are kept, sorted, placed, bound. At last, the steppe gathers. Tribal leaders, new officers, old enemies now allies. They lift Temujin on a felt carpet. Voices join one name, Genghis Khan. This is more than a coronation. It is a contract. The army is decimal. No private armies inside the state. Spoils come by list, not knife. Deserters and thieves meet the law, high and low alike. Messengers of the Khan are sacred. Strike one and you strike the realm. Religions are tolerated. Craftsmen and scholars protected. The steppe has had Khans before. Now it has a system. Before Chinggis, war was seasonal raiding, loose coalitions, noble privilege. After Chinggis, war is year-round, units move like gears, and loyalty points up, not sideways. Intelligence first, scouts far ahead, signals by flags and drums tie the field together. Mobility multiplied, each rider with remount strings. Whole columns move at night. Incentives aligned. You fight harder when the law protects your share. This is how a boy whose clan abandoned him builds a state no clan can break. At the heart of the machine, people. Berthe, the queen who endured a kidnapping and became a pillar. Hulun, the mother who taught the first lesson, work or starve. Young commanders, Subutai, a blacksmith's son, Jabi, once an enemy archer, pulled up by merit. Chinggis's true weapon is not fear. It is the promise that talent rises. Across these grasses lie walls to test, rivers to cross, cities that think cavalry can't climb. Chinggis has given his riders structure, law, and a reason to believe. What happens next will change the map of Eurasia. In the next episode, Walls of the North, nomads learn siegecraft, mountains become doors, and a capital trembles. Until then, hold the line. The wind whips through the gears, carrying the scent of mare's milk and ambition. Temujin, now Genghis Khan, stands on the precipice of an empire, but the steppe is only the beginning. His vision extends beyond the horizon to the settled lands, the walled cities, and the vast ancient kingdoms that have always seen the nomads as a temporary menace, a fleeting storm. Lesson 3. The world is wider than the steppe, and its rules are different. For generations, the settled empires to the south and west, the Jin Dynasty, the Khwārazmian Empire, have viewed the steppe as a wild periphery, a source of occasional raiders and exotic goods. They built walls not to conquer, but to contain. They believed in the power of stone, not the fluidity of horse and bow. This fundamental difference in perspective will be their undoing. Genghis Khan understands walls. He understands their strength, but more importantly, their weaknesses. A wall is a boundary, yes, but it is also a target, a fixed point against which the mobile power of his army can be brought to bear. His strategy is not merely to overcome walls, but to absorb their power, to turn the very tools of civilization against themselves. He will need engineers, siege specialists, and new ways of thinking. His riders, accustomed to open warfare, will have to adapt, to learn the slow, grinding patience of siegecraft. The first great test of this new doctrine will come against the Jin Dynasty. The Jin, a powerful and sophisticated empire, had long exacted tribute from the nomadic tribes. They held a deep-seated contempt for the barbarians of the steppe, a contempt born of centuries of perceived superiority. Chinggis remembers the humiliations, the demands for tribute, the arrogant envoys. This is not just about conquest. It is about rewriting the narrative, about proving that true power comes not from inherited titles or ancient cities, but from earned loyalty and an unbreakable will. His army, now a unified machine, is poised. The intelligence network, honed during his rise to power, is in full swing. Scouts report on the Jin defenses, the strength of their garrisons, the layout of their cities. Mapmakers, a new breed of scholar servant, meticulously chart the terrain. He knows the Jin have advanced weaponry, formidable catapults, intricate fortifications, but he also knows their weaknesses: a rigid command structure, internal divisions, and a reliance on fixed defenses that cannot adapt to the fluid, unpredictable assault of the Mongol hordes. The campaign begins with a series of probing attacks designed not to conquer, but to gather more intelligence, to test the Jin's response, to sow confusion and fear. Small raiding parties, swift and ghost-like, strike deep into Jin territory, bypassing fortified positions, disrupting supply lines, and drawing Jin forces out into the open, where the Mongol cavalry can unleash its devastating power. These are not random acts of plunder. Each raid is a calculated move, part of a larger, grander strategy. Chinggis is not just winning battles. He is shaping the battlefield, dictating the terms of engagement. The Jin, caught off guard, struggle to respond. Their vast bureaucratic empire is slow to react. Their generals trained in conventional warfare are ill-equipped to counter the lightning-fast, decentralized tactics of the Mongols. The Mongol army, meanwhile, is learning. They capture Jin engineers, interrogate prisoners, reverse engineer siege engines. They adapt, innovate, and absorb the knowledge of their enemies, turning it into their own weapon. Chinggis himself is a constant presence, riding among his men, sharing their hardships, inspiring their loyalty. He is not a distant emperor, but a leader who earns his authority every single day in every single battle. He introduces new regulations, extending his code of law, the Yasa, to the conquered territories. Justice is swift and impartial, even for the defeated. This surprisingly earns him the respect of some of the conquered peoples who had suffered under corrupt or tyrannical Jin rule. The Mongols learned to build siege towers, to undermine walls, to construct massive catapults that hurl stones and flaming naphtha into enemy cities. The image of the steppe nomad, once dismissed as a simple horseman, is transforming into something far more complex and terrifying. A master of all forms of warfare. Cities fall, one after another. Some resist fiercely, only to be overwhelmed by the relentless Mongol assault. Others, seeing the fate of their neighbors, open their gates, hoping to earn the Khan's mercy. But mercy under Genghis is not a given. It is earned through submission, through cooperation. Those who resist to the bitter end face the full fury of the Mongol war machine. This uncompromising approach serves a dual purpose. It breaks the will of potential enemies and instills a profound sense of fear that minimizes future resistance. The landscape of North China begins to change. Ancient walls crumble, cities burn, and the nomadic horsemen, once confined to the steppe, now ride through the heart of settled civilization. The Jin Dynasty, once so confident in its impregnability, finds itself besieged, its very existence threatened. The capital city, Zhongdu, a sprawling metropolis of millions, stands as the ultimate prize, the symbol of Jin power. Its walls are massive, its defenses formidable, but the Mongol army, now a seasoned force of siege warfare, approaches with a chilling precision. The siege of Zhongdu is a brutal, protracted affair. The Mongols, not content with merely battering down the walls, employ psychological warfare. They cut off supplies, contaminate water sources, and unleash a barrage of propaganda designed to break the morale of the defenders. Inside the city, famine and disease begin to take their toll. The Jin leadership, riddled with internal strife and paralyzed by fear, struggles to maintain order. The people, once loyal to their emperor, begin to question the wisdom of continued resistance. Eventually, Zhongdu falls. The scale of the victory is immense, a clear declaration to the world that the nomads are no longer just raiders. They are conquerors, building an empire that dwarfs anything seen before. Lesson 4. True conquest is not just about taking land, but about integrating it, making it part of a new order. Genghis does not destroy Zhongdu completely. Instead, he dismantles its defenses, renames it, and begins the process of incorporating its resources and its people into his burgeoning administration. He understands that a functioning empire requires more than just military might. It requires governance, economic integration, and the careful management of diverse populations. He recruits Jin scholars and administrators, offering them positions within his new hierarchy. He adapts Jin siege technologies, military tactics, and even administrative practices, constantly learning and evolving his system. This willingness to absorb and adapt from conquered peoples is a hallmark of his genius, a stark contrast to the rigid conservatism of many other empires. The Jin Dynasty is broken, but its legacy is not entirely erased. Instead, it is transformed, becoming a foundational element of the Mongol Empire. The walls of the north have been breached, not by brute force alone, but by a combination of military innovation, strategic brilliance, and an unprecedented capacity for adaptation. The nomads have learned siegecraft, mountains have become doors, and a capital has trembled, then fallen. Genghis Khan now stands at the crossroads of history. To the east lies the vast, rich lands of Korea and China. To the west, the immense territories of Central Asia and beyond, leading to Europe. The world, once so vast and fragmented, is about to experience a profound unification under the banner of the Great Khan. In the next episode, The Gates of the West, the Mongol hordes turn their gaze towards the Khwarezmian Empire, a clash of cultures that will ignite a firestorm across Central Asia and prove that no empire, however mighty, can withstand the storm that Genghis Khan has unleashed. Until then, hold the line.
Please subscribe and look for more documentaries at Swords and Shadows.